Yo, what's going on guys? Evan Tanaka here, back with another video. In today's video, we have another episode of the series where I rate and improve your guys' teams. You guys send me your team on Twitter at EvanTanaka1010, and I'll give you guys a rating 1 through 10. It could be a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, or a 10, and give you guys my best suggestions for your guys' teams to make your team as good as possible. If you guys want to be featured in one of these videos, send me your team on EvanTanaka10 on Twitter, and you guys could definitely be featured in the next video. Looking at the first team here from Scary Minutes, he's on current gen and has 400,000 MT. He's got D-Wade at the 1, Kazi at the 2, Isaac at the 3, Nedelecki at the 4, and D-Rob at the 5. A very good starting lineup. The bench is a little bit weaker, but still not a terrible bench. I'm gonna say overall this team is like an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. With 400,000 MT, I'm not gonna touch your starting lineup. We're mainly just gonna focus on the bench. And there's two players I don't really think should play. Number 1 being Herbert Jones and number 2 being Trae Young. I understand Trae Young, he's from the playoff moments, and I understand both these guys are free, and I understand both these guys are fun to use. But what I would do personally to have the best team possible is move Worthy to the 3. I think he's a better small forward. Pick up a power forward like a guy like Tim Duncan, like a guy like Thon Maker, like a guy like Bol Bol. What I would do for your team is have James Worthy at the backup 3. I would get Thon Maker at the backup 4. And then for the backup point guard position, I would go ahead and get yourself either a Derrick Rose or an Oscar Robinson. But thank you for sending your team. On to the next one. Next team here is going to come in from James. He's got 150,000 MT on current gen. Most cards are shoed plus badged out with gold badges. He's got K, Jaylen Brown, Scotty Barnes, Tim Duncan, David Robinson. He's got Chauncey Billups, Kazi Russell, Ben Wallace, Thurl Bailey, and Eddie Curry. I'm going to say this team's a little bit worse than the last one. I'll probably go with a 8 out of 10, maybe a 7.5, in between a 7.5 and an 8 out of 10. I think your starting lineup is fine, especially for only having 150,000 MTE. I would just like the last person work on your bench. I'm going to give the exact same suggestions for the backup point guard. You could go with a guy like Caruso, Manu Ginobili, Oscar Robinson, Dwayne Wade. There's a bunch of good names you could get for the backup point guard position. I like the Kazi Russell. I like the Ben Wallace. I think Thurl Bailey could be upgraded as well with a guy like Jonathan Isaac or Thon Maker. And then at the backup center position, I think Eddie Curry can do fine for now. So what I would do for backup 1 is probably get a guy like Dwayne Wade. For the backup 4, I would go ahead and pick up Thon Maker or Jonathan Isaac. Next team here is going to come in from MJ Castro. He says he's planning to buy Butler and getting Giddy soon, looking for Hakeem replacement. So obviously this will be Dark Matter Jimmy Butler, and this will be Dark Matter Josh Giddey. This team is very good. MJ, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin, Dikembe. He's got a great bench as well. If you get Jimmy Butler, for example, and you had Josh Giddey, this is easily a 9.5 out of 10. I don't know how much exactly MT you have, but for a Hakeem replacement, I personally like a guy like Kristaps a lot better than Hakeem. I think Kristaps is the best center in the game, but if you want a guy that's a bit cheaper, I would go ahead and pick up a guy like D-Rob. He's only around 100,000 MT, and I still think he is better than Hakeem, but this squad is absolutely amazing, and the only suggestion for me would be go ahead and pick up a Kristaps or pick up a David Robinson. Next team here comes in from Walter. He's got Derrick Rose, Kazi Russell, Thon Maker, Alonzo Mourning, and David Robinson. I think this is a very good overall team. One thing you should note too is that Ben Wallace, I don't know how it works in game, but RJ Barrett should be at the 2 and Ben Wallace should be at the 3. I'm not sure exactly if it kind of just does that in game for you, but just letting you know that you want RJ at the 2 and you want Ben Wallace at the 3, and then obviously Jonathan Isaac at the 4 and Ralph Sampson at the 5. I think it's a very good, well-structured and very well-balanced team. I'm gonna say 8.5 out of 10. I do think there's no real holes in this lineup. There's no player I'm like, you need to get rid of, where in the past couple teams, there was a couple players I was like, you need to replace. In this lineup, 200,000 MT, you can definitely make some upgrades, but nothing you really necessarily have to do. I would say maybe for the backup center position, go ahead and get yourself Hakeem. I think Hakeem is better than Ralph Sampson, and he's going to give you some more offense than a guy like Ralph. But if you like Ralph, maybe go ahead and pick up a better point guard. Maybe go after a guy like Zach LaVine. If you don't want to make any of those suggestions, honestly, with your squad, I would just save your MT and wait till next Friday and see what cards do come out. Next team here comes in from Dolin. Apologize for pronouncing that wrong, but he's on current gen. I got about 400,000 MT and open to any suggestions. Got a good squad: Luka Doncic, Paul George, Jonathan Isaac, Blake Griffin, KP. That's one of the best starting lineups, especially on next gen. You say you're on current gen, I'm just saying, like, on next gen, probably one of the best starting lineups you can make. The bench is a lot worse, having guys like Kenyon Martin and John Morant. The starting lineup's like a 9 or a 9.5. The bench is like a 7.5 to an 8. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give this squad an 8.5 out of 10. We're not gonna touch the starting lineup at all. We're just gonna focus on the bench. And there's two guys, like I said, that definitely need to get gone, and that's John Morant and Kenyon Martin. For the backup point guard position, you do have a good amount of MT. You could definitely spend that on a guy like Zach LaVine, or a guy like Derrick Rose, or a guy like Dwayne Wade. I think get one of those three options. Dwayne Wade's about 40k, Derrick Rose is about 70 to 80k, and then Zach LaVine's around 175 to 200,000 MT. I like RJ Barrett, I like Rudy Gay. Not a fan of Kenyon Martin. I would get Thon Maker. I would get someone like a Tim Duncan or a Bull. One of those three guys for the backup power forward position will make this squad a lot better. If you make those two suggestions, this squad is definitely a 9 out of 10. But thank you for sending in your team, and on to the next one. Next team here comes in from Brandon. He's got 3.1 million MT and he's on next gen. Think of getting Dark Matter Giannis or Ben once he comes out. So you got Josh Giddey, Carmelo, Thon, Bob, and you got Dikembe, John Morant, Vince Carter, Jonathan Isaac, Josh Smith, and Ralph Sampson. Very similar to the last guy's team, where the starting lineup is one of the best starting lineups in the game, but then your bench does fall off a little bit. So I'm gonna give you, just like the last guy, an 8.5 out of 10. I can't go much higher than that with the bench of, John Morant. Vince Carter's solid, Josh Smith is solid. Your bench is definitely solid, but it's nothing crazy like your starting lineup. You also have 3.1 million MT and you play next gen. I think you have to have Luka Doncic, even if it's just getting his base non-signature for around 400,000 MT. I did it on my account and I've never looked back since. I had around the same amount of MT and I thought, well, Luka's a lot of MT, should I spend that? Trust me, especially if you're on next gen, get Luka Doncic, start him over Josh Giddey, and then have Josh Giddey coming off the bench. I like Vince Carter, he's a good free card. I'd like Jonathan Isaac. Josh Smith, I think you can upgrade to a guy like Blake Griffin, upgrade to a cheaper option like a Tim Duncan or a David Robinson. And then for the backup center position, I would get someone like Kristaps Porzingis or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think you have a lot of MT and you can easily make this squad a 9.5 out of 10. Because right now, I think the three guys you need to upgrade the most is going to be John Morant, Josh Smith, and Ralph Sampson. Me personally, I would go Luka Doncic, Blake Griffin, and Kristaps Porzingis to make your best possible team. Next team comes in from Rocky. He's on current gen and has 470,000 MT. He's got Zach LaVine, Chris Mullin, Jonathan Isaac, Thon Maker, Kareem. Very good starting lineup, and the bench is very good as well. I'm gonna give this squad a 9 out of 10. This is a very well built team. No real suggestions I can make because there's no real holes in your team. I like your point guards, I like your shooting guards, your small forwards, your power forwards, and your centers. So honestly, this is the first team I literally have no suggestions for. I would say just keep piling up that MT and wait till next weekend when we maybe get a better set, because this set really wasn't the best with like Carmelo and Jimmy. So wait till next Friday and we probably will get a much better set. Final team here comes in from JLoading. Hope I'm not too late. Appreciate the videos. Helps out so much on current gen with 376,000 MT. And should I sell Pippen and Rudy for Dark Matter LeBron, and also going for Josh Giddey? A lot of information to take in, but we know you got 375,000 MT. Looking at the squad though, I'd like your starting lineup. Your bench is a little bit worse, but still pretty solid. I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. It's a very solid team, right? You got Kevin Durant, you got Melo, you got KP, you got John Isaac, you got D Wade. I wouldn't touch your starting lineup. I would just focus on your bench. For your backup point guard, I think if you can get Josh Giddey, obviously go after him. He'd be a lot better than a guy like Lonzo. For me, there's two positions I'm eyeing though: Anthony Davis and Giannis. For a guy like Giannis, I mean, you could go ahead and spend a good amount of MT and go ahead and get yourself a guy like Blake Griffin if you wanted to. But if you want to go for more of a cheap option, I think Tim Duncan is still really good and he plays really well beside David Robinson. So for me, my suggestion would be Tim Duncan, go after Josh Giddey. And then for the backup small forward position, I think Thon Maker is a lot better than Anthony Davis. And once you make those suggestions, this team could easily be a 9 out of 10. But that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.